Welcome to the Bandit Garage.
Today we are swapping out the main jets. All right, so let's get started to change out the main jets. In order to do that, the first step is to take off our air filter. And in order to do that, one of these ITGs is a simple little release. You just twist the pin in there and it pops right off. Next step is we have the mounting plate. We need to take that off in order to get to the carburetor, and we do that by undoing the 4 bolts. And that comes right off. Put that to the side. So now underneath that plate, we can see our carburetor. This is a Weber 3838. The main, I think, 6 screws that we have to take off, and the entire top housing of the carburetor come off. And then I suppose while we're here, safety and future disaster prevention, we're gonna jam a rag into the top of the carburetor so nothing will fall in there. Now we have all the bolts out. We can leave the fuel line on in our case because we got plenty of extra. We'll just gently lift top of the carburetor off. Now we got to watch out. That's actual gas in there, which will definitely cause a fire and explode. And we also have to watch out because on the bottom side here, we have our floats. So we don't want to damage those. I personally just leave the gas in, just don't smoke around it. So yeah, main jets are just these guys hiding down here in the bowl area with the fuel all over it. So we're just gonna unscrew both those with the screwdriver. Okay, and we're gonna pull those out and take them over to the workbench. So we pulled out the jets, and in order to find out what sizes, you gotta look for the little print written on them. This one says it's a 165, and this one's a 160, so we can see that it's engraved on the side of the jet. And I made a mistake. I have a Weber 3838, but I come from a 3236, where your different barrels come on at different times, I think, so you're allowed to do the different jets as I've been doing for a while. And I think part of the problem why it's not running so great is we need to match them up. So since I think the 165 is probably what we want to go for, we need to basically find something that has a main jet in that range. And this is not the most organized, but we'll just kind of dig through everything that our Redline kit comes with. 160 and just run 2 160s and see how the car runs on that. Just gotta put it back in. Basically hook it up to your screwdriver. If it's magnetic, it might hold. Not, get one that's a good tight fit, and make sure you get it properly seated before you torque it down and get it in there and give it a nice, you don't want to over torque it. It doesn't need a lot of pressure, just enough to make sure it's nice and snug. Line up the second one. Same pattern, just nice and snug. Okay, once that's done, basically just put the top half of your carburetor back on. Make sure everything sits in nice. There we go, too much towel. So I like to just get them snug, not over tightened. When you tighten things unevenly, you have a chance of warping stuff. I'm not too worried about that with this, but just good practice to make sure you go in star patterns or end-to-end patterns when you're torquing down. We'll just get them all snug. Everything's nice and tight. So the bolts are hitting. It's because I was testing with only one spacer with the intent of getting more gap for the filter on the strut tower brace. So we are going to find another spacer and give that a shot. It's like we can see that it's taking in, probably sucking in air around this. Like, what is this part doing? I mean, the goal of it is to suck all the air through the filter, right? And the filter seals to this top plate, okay? And if we see when we pull off, it's touching here, this flat area, and it's pulling in, it looks like a lot of stuff through there. So how can we get it more flat? If we could see, our plate is quite warped over the years. So I think part of the solution here is to get this just to be a little bit more straight, and we'll find a new seal. All right, so we can see, you know, it's just really mangled. Husto's got us the mallet. We're gonna slide this clip part off so we can make it nice and flat, and then we'll just come over here onto the garage floor, and we'll just try to bang it in a bit. We'll come back up here and just give it a good eyeball. See if we can just bend it by hand a little bit. We've got our little lumps there kind of taken out, significantly smoother. We've got a new gasket, spacer, seal, whatever you want to call it. We'll see how it fares, and we still see big old gap in the middle. So let's try to some more hammering. But maybe the whole problem was we just didn't have it bolted down enough because the bolts are too long. So let's cut them. Okay. Right. So we just need to shave off a little bit. Let's put gasket back on. How does that sit on there? Seems a lot nicer, a lot flatter. So we're gonna drive it all the way in, and we can see it's hitting. Yep, it's hitting that thing. But how much stick out do we have? So that's at least what? We can take off 2 or 3 threads. So we'll back it out. And then we will take all of our bolts. We'll come over the workbench. And then the hackiest of the hacky ways to make a bolt size you want. Find some nuts, stick them on, and go down to the amount of threads you want to cut off. Maybe a little bit more, but we'll go roughly, we said what, 3 threads would be enough?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll back the other one on top of it. You can get the wrenches out if you want, make it real tight. Get that there, we'll clamp it down in the vise. Okay, clamp it down, not too tight to distort it, but just tight enough. So we find our trusty angle grinder, and then we want to make sure we kind of get it as straight as we can. And you just line it up here. We're gonna cut off the end of the bolt with our angle grinder. You probably should have a guard and gloves and all the safety equipment, but we're just gonna go ahead and do it. That one wiggled around a little bit on me. Hopefully it's good, and we'll take our floppy disk and just give it a little cleanup. Now watch out, it's really hot. We put the nuts on it because theoretically you just back it off and it will clean up your threads on the end, and then you will be left with a bolt that you can thread back in. Is it pretty? Is it great? No, but it does the job. And I will find a file and just clean up the burrs a little bit here. Okay, and give it a shot. How's that work? Lots of room. What was it hitting? It was hitting something, yeah?
Yeah, the little brass thing.
Now, let's see if the filter will fit. All right, well, give it a shot, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so start it up, everything works. We'll just pop everything back together. This ITG will actually kind of, I think it has a little lip there. I think that clips onto the back. See, so the back doesn't launch off. And then you just need to find the right place for the pin. And there we go, twist it in, boom, and we're ready to go.
After installing the jets, the car seemed to run a bit better, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done to this car, like replacing the fenders, installing the fuel pump, and a lot of visual and interior upgrades. So that will be coming in future episodes on this channel. If you don't want to miss those episodes, make sure to subscribe. And lastly, thanks for watching Bandit Garage.